Welcome everybody to They Cast from the Coast. My name is Adam Miles. I'm joined as always by Josh Lambert, Aaron Peerless, and Tim Johnson. Tonight, folks, we are joined by writer of a very awesome and recent independent film, Becky. Nick Morris is joining us. Stay tuned. Thanks for joining us, Nick. How you doing, buddy?
Good, guys. How you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good.
Awesome.
We're doing pretty good.
Awesome.
So tonight's episode, once again, we have Nick Morris with us. Nick Morris is actually, and this is why we're really excited and happy to have him, is that he is an East Coast boy, just like the rest of us here. Nick, where are you from naturally? Like, where are you from originally?
Originally, I grew up in Cumberland County, about halfway between Wentworth Valley and Oxford, way out in the sticks. I've been in Halifax for about 16 years now.
Very nice, very nice. So, from Halifax, local success story. You wrote and sold the script for what is now known as Becky. It was under a different name previously when you wrote it, though. What was it under?
Originally, it was called There Was a Little Girl.
And for anybody who's seen the movie, you'll understand why that actually kind of plays into the actual title of the script. So very, very good. So absolutely. So tonight it's going to be very informal. We're just going to have a bunch of questions. Just answer at your free will, and we'll go from there. So, Josh, I do want to throw this over to you first, and the reason being is because Josh.
You really want to go there?
Yeah. So
Right
Nick,
off the bat?
we're gonna
Right
have some horror questions for you, and we're gonna talk like horror fans. But we all just watched Becky because we're actually going to be producing a review video for it as well. So it's great to have you on the show because you got some fucking explaining to do here, buddy. So right off the bat, I'm giving you to Josh, and I'm gonna apologize ahead of time, but Josh, give it to him, man, give it to him.
You, sir, are what we in the industry know as a son of a bitch. You motherfucker. You motherfucker. They asked me, the other day they asked me, they said, what'd you think of it? I just said, I'm fucking sour. And they're like, why are you sour? What's wrong? And this is the verbatim what I told them.
Oh, shit.
I said, I'm sour because this motherfucker Pulp Fictioned me. I was so involved and loved where the story was going. And then he bent me over and fucked me. I was waiting, hands open, to receive the big payoff for what was worth. The King of Queens going full Nazi, and instead he slipped a big wiggly dildo right up my poop chute.
Okay,
cool.
So let's not mince words here. Josh, you actually liked the movie though, right?
Oh, I loved it. Don't get me wrong, I loved every step of the way. But you motherfucker. You had me waiting. I was just, give me the payoff. Where's the payoff? Oh no, roll the credits. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
Okay, so I don't think that there's actually a question in there, but
More of a little rant.
It's just a little rant, but it does bring up the biggest question that we all asked amongst ourselves.
Well,
and
before we ask, I want to know, is this how it was written, or is this something that they took from Hollywood and changed it a bit?
This is basically how it was written. honestly, the original draft, the bad guys, the first draft that I wrote, the bad guys were not Nazis. That was something that the producers asked me to do in rewrites, just to give them a little more personality or flavor, I guess. And the key that they're after, originally it was like a safe deposit box key, you know. And I will say that I never specified in the original script either exactly what that key was for, but after my rewrites were done and the directors came on board and the other writers came on board, the key became this big gaudy thing with the Volknut symbol on it and stuff. So it was clearly, you know, safe deposit box or whatever. It wasn't going to cut it anymore, right? So, which makes it interesting when you're thinking about, you know, the potential for a sequel. But yeah, that was the deal with that.
You know, Nick, I gave you an out. All you had to say was, "Yeah, you know, I read it, and it was
Hollywood.
It's my fault. I fucking
You
pulp fiction you.
Now, did you obviously you didn't put it in the script, but you obviously had a thought process of what was going to be in that safety deposit box, yeah?
Yeah, money, gold, whatever. You know what? Something that was valuable to them. To me, it was always just more of a symbolic thing, right? You know, something that that twisted bastards like this will, you know, will kill for or do anything for, you know, to achieve what they want to achieve. And you know, it was, you know, it's a MacGuffin, right?
Yeah.
You know, but
to be fair though, I unlike I didn't think it mattered what was in the box. That's not the point of the story.
It didn't.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
But
he's not alone. A lot of people
Oh,
are.
no.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of shit about that key. So.
No, it's better to not know in reality, because if they just opened up and it was a bunch of money, it'd be way
Right.
less climactic.
Oh, lame.
Well,
Exactly, right?
Well, and I'm going to add to that, and I agree with that sentiment, because the big thing is there was a particular piece of dialogue in the film that struck me as odd, because I was thinking about it the whole time going, what the hell's the key for? What the hell's the key for? And then, plain and simple, the characters were asked, and at one point he states that it's something that's going to help with the situation and bringing the end of like the mixing of races and all this kind of stuff. He's going on about it, and it's like, you know, putting the world back to the way that it was. And it's like, and I'm thinking like Indiana Jones type shit. Like there's some sort of like an Ark of the Covenant,
the Holy
type of,
Grail.
You know, some sort of a Nazi legend treasure that you pop the key in, and all of a sudden like fucking Fourth Reich is born or some shit. You know, like wow.
And now that's, you know, that's the key that wound up in the movie. You know, that's almost what it has to be, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thought process I had. It's like, you know, this old skeleton key looking thing, and
yeah.
Okay. So if it's not like, you know, if whatever it opens does not come from the warehouse that Indiana Jones stores his shit in, then I will be disappointed. Period.
Yeah. And in all honesty, that's a conversation that I have not had with the other writers. So I don't know if they have a sense of, you know, where they were going with that. But for me, the key was always just symbolic, and it was a MacGuffin, pure and simple.
I hear Disney and Lucasfilms are super easy to get along with and easy to deal with, so you can definitely make it into an Indiana Jones film.
Yeah.
They're super lax with their properties.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah, they won't sue.
How easygoing was it to work with the other writers? Like being a writer yourself, how easygoing was it to kind of collaborate with the other writers? Because you've got a vision for this, right? And when somebody takes it and kind of modifies it a little bit, sometimes people get a little upset, right? So what's your take on?
Yeah, it's, you know, it's a very collaborative process after you've sold the script. Up until that point, it's just you. So I mean, the script that I sold, you know, they had some. The producers had some minor things that they wanted changed, some characterization things, and I was under contract to do a couple of rewrites to take care of that. And once I turned in my last draft, it's kind of out of my hands now, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so, yeah, the other writers came on board with the directors, Carrie and John, Lane and Ruckus Sky, and they kind of amped up the Nazi stuff a little bit, and the key obviously, and there was other things too that, you know, for budget reasons and logistics for production and stuff that had to, you know, be dialed back or changed, you know. So it's different than the draft that I turned in, but it's not a lot different. Like the story is essentially the same, right?
Yeah.
You know, and from the time that I sold the script to the time we went to production was almost 3 years. So,
Wow.
yeah. So, and
Wow.
Tim would probably remember that when I first came to him with the script and with some ideas for some artwork, Becky was quite a bit younger than she winds up being in the movie, and that's largely because the producers wanted Lulu Wilson right out of the gate. That was the first name they said. They sent a very early draft of the script to her, and she was on board right out of the gate. And then, cut to 3 years later, you know, now she's not 11, she's 13, almost 14. So, and yeah, some things like that, some things with the location, you know, were different than what I wrote. But yeah, for the most part, it's the same. It's the same story.
Cool.
Oh, I felt that when I watched it. I was like, yeah, this is almost the same. Like, aside from some details and all that, it's exactly how you pitched it to me. Which is, like, and this whole experience has been very surreal just because, like, you know, hey, can you do some artwork? Yeah, right? And I did it, and awesome, good luck. I hope you get your movie made or whatever. And then I find out, oh shit, it's getting made. Then I'm watching it with my kid, who my kid loved it because he's 13, right?
Yeah.
So he was like, man, he goes, I'm the same age as Becky. And I go, technically, Anthony, you were the first visual representation of Becky. And he goes, what do you mean? I go, when I drew that poster, I used him. I just took a couple and used him as reference, right? So I was like, technically, you're the first Becky. And he's like, what? It was funny. But yeah.
Yeah, it's been totally surreal for me too, man. Every step of the way. You know, it's it all happened very fast out of the gate, and then boom, you're sitting for 2 to 3 years waiting for updates, and you know, and then finally things start happening, and we're shooting in August, and you know, and
where was
you
it
gonna come
shot
up? I was shot in Burlington, Ontario, Burlington and Hamilton, and maybe a little bit in Toronto, I think.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely funny because there's something that the guys make fun of me for all the damn time. It's whenever I see like
where he's going with this.
yeah, I know, like it could be a multitude of things, but essentially it was whenever I see a trailer for something I really like. So I actually sent the trailer around to the guys, and I was like, guys, you gotta check this out. Kevin James is like a Nazi, and Tim's like, fuck Kevin James, I hate that King of Queens guy. So then all of a sudden Tim watched the trailer and he goes, wait a fucking minute. This is the movie!
This is the movie.
This is the movie!
Remember, it's like, what? I go, yeah.
But the last time,
I also I liked how they kept your name as the tagline, like the original name for the story.
Yeah.
As the tagline, right? I thought that was
that was cool. Yeah. I was happy to see that on the poster too. Probably the last time that we were talking about it, Tim, Simon Pegg was involved, and he was originally supposed to play the main leader villain character, but scheduling or something, he couldn't make it happen, and Kevin was on board to play the dad role, and he asked, you know, when Simon was out, he asked if he could read for the bad guy part, and and he did, and obviously they were impressed with it, and he really blew everybody away on set, because I don't think anybody was really sure what to expect, right? But
Yeah.
But I mean, those are usually the best kind of. I don't want to say it was a breakout role. The guy's been around for years, but
right.
breaking away from the mold that he's created with his career of being a comedian, very lighthearted, an Adam Sandler,
The funny fat guy.
the funny fat guy.
Yeah. Paul
And-
Blart Nazi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he was definitely a presence in the movie, and like I was like, damn, he can grow a beard, man. Like,
Yeah.
Epic.
no, he was really good. He basically changed my opinion of him. Like, I like Kevin James now. So
Yeah, I was pretty impressed, man. I mean, he played it pretty cool and understated. He easily could have gone the other way and been the scenery chewing, mustache twirling villain type, but he wasn't, and it just kind of adds to it and makes him a little more creepy and intimidating, I think.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So then, the obvious question that a lot of people ask, and I'm going to have to ask this one too, is, did you go through like any kind of like a publicist or what did you do to actually catch the eye of people with this script?
Yeah, it's that was only the second script I ever wrote, actually, and I had submitted it to like a screenwriting blog called Script Shadow. It's pretty popular. Gets a lot of eyeballs. Producers check it out, and if you kind of they receive a bunch of amateur scripts and kind of pit them against each other, and the community can vote on them. Anyways, mine was featured there this one particular weekend in the summer of 2017, and happened to catch the eye of a producer that connected with it, and he called me that same weekend about it.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
it's awesome.
So basically,
Yeah, it's crazy.
you went, you did your own thing, and it stood on its merits, and somebody noticed it right off the bat. That's a
Yeah.
true success, in my opinion. I mean, it's not like you went, and spent years trying to hawk it at multiple different, publishers who aren't doing anything for you, or publicists that aren't really kind of working the room for you. This was you
Right.
standing on your own 2 feet, and you got noticed. That's good. Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, it's there's so many would-be screenwriters out there that I have so many friends that have gone all in on this thing, and packed up and moved to LA, and they've been at it for 20 years and working on backlots and interning with agencies and whatever they can do to just try and get a foothold, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. It's so much of it is about luck and just happening to have the right project in front of the right set of eyeballs at the right time, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So, let's talk.
Do you think that they're? Sorry, Adam.
So you go ahead, Aaron.
Well, I didn't want to get I'm not getting political or anything with this, but are you getting? Is there any like backlash or anything with the subject matter that's in on this film, really? Or I mean, it is fiction, right? Stuff. So
Yeah,
you know, I mean, it seemed to come out right as things, not right as things, but you know how the world is going right now. Like it's just it's a mess, right? And
yeah,
it seems to be like I watched it for the first time yesterday, and I'm like, oh, good grief, this is this is touching on some serious stuff right now, right?
But I mean,
So,
it's not like they portray the Nazis as good guys.
oh, no,
Well, and
no,
also,
it
one
could be
thing,
a subject for anybody, right?
No,
These days,
true.
right? Yeah.
but I also found that it was very nuanced. Like
Yeah.
the little kind of racial speech he gives at the start, where he's there talking about the dogs, and then looks at them as in to imply,
Right.
like that was, I was like, damn, like what a way to be racist without being all in your face with it, right?
right.
Yeah, because he could have absolutely been the typical Hollywood Nazi where he's like walking around,
Dropping
dropping
racial
N-bombs and
slurs
racial
and all this
slurs
kind of stuff. Yeah.
But no, he was very poignant about it because, well, I mean, he was a very, very, very smart character in the way that he did things. Like he said multiple times in the movie, he spent, thousands of hours, 9 years plus, basically planning the perfect situation. The last thing he was going to do was let his mouth get himself in trouble.
Right.
You know
Right,
what I mean?
exactly.
He was going to work on it exactly as he needed to get exactly what he needed to get done. And that was just what it was. So, yeah, I can definitely appreciate the fact that he was very cool, calm, and collective about it. And, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing with a story like this, you know, where she's so young and it's so violent, you've really got to hate these bad guys, right, in order to kind of get on board with it. And yeah, you know,
It does really well. It does. I mean, you get kind of a little, you get kind of unbalanced with Apex a bit. Like you're like, oh
Right.
man, like, that guy, he wants to do better in his life, and so you kind of dip your emotions kind of dip a little bit, and you're like, oh man, like he's just trying to get from this crap, right?
I had to give a character arc to at least one of them, but
Oh, I thought that was perfect, man. You gave it to the 6'10" behemoth there,
Robert Mayette.
Yeah.
The beast.
Yeah. I've taken more shit about the death of the dog than anything else.
Yeah.
As you would. I mean, people get very
attached. It's a horror
attached.
movie. You gotta kill the dog.
Again, right? And it serves to motivate her more.
Well, even my son watched
people are really sensitive about that.
Yeah, my son was watching the movie, and when the dog died, my son went, "What? You don't kill the dog!" And I'm like, "Sit down."
Yeah.
Well,
I keep asking myself, like, did the writers and the producers of John Wick take this much shit? About that was a puppy, right? And it was brutal.
Yeah, slightly. No, it was. There were two kind of moments that kind of took me back. I mean, there's some really good moments in the movie, but there were two moments that actually kind of went, "Oh, this is not going the direction I thought it would." One was when the father actually bites it, because I was like, "Okay, this is definitely going a different direction." She's orphaned at this point. Like she has nothing to basically live for at this point. Like it's just kill these bastards now. And the second one was when you give the character arc to Apex, Robert Mayette's character, and at the very end she blows his head off, and I'm like, what?
Right.
Like I was thinking to myself, it's gonna be one of those redemption moments. She just saved her life, but she was just like, bam, and then she has this screaming fit, and I'm like, okay, get it out, girl.
So, how fucking full-on crazy is Becky at the end of this movie? Like, she's lost her marbles at this point.
Oh, she's smirking and everything.
Though? Because when she's getting interviewed, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah,
when it's doing the interview, right? Yeah.
Well, and
she knows what she's doing.
And the father's girlfriend even specifically says, "You have no clue who you just killed the father of somebody that you have no clue who she is. She is vindictive and intelligent and all this." And I'm like, okay, this woman hasn't known Becky for that long, and she already knows this shit about her. Like, this kid's obviously made an impression at one point.
Yeah. At one point, she opens up like her little chest of drawers or whatever, and she's got like a little animal skull. So, is she like a full-on like serial killer in the making, and she killed animals as a little girl? Like what?
She's got some anger issues, it's did she kill that or did she just find it? Who knows? But
either way.
Well, you do. You know.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. Don't pussyfoot around this.
I just imagined that it was just something that she found, and thought was cool, in a dark, twisted kind of way, and threw it in the little treasure box, right? But but you can read into that what you will. Maybe she's, even further gone.
Hey guys, I'm Felissa Rose, Angela from Sleepaway Camp, and you're listening to They Cast from the Coast. Yeah!
So you obviously you wrote the script, you sold the script, someone bought the script, you were working with the writers. how involved were you after that point? Like when they were actually legit making it. Now, I know that you were on set. I don't know how long you were, but like, what was your influence after the fact? Like when you got paid and they're like, okay, this is our movie now. Like how much of the loop did they keep you in?
They kept me in the loop a lot in terms of any developments and what was happening with casting and stuff like that. Creatively, once that last draft was turned in, that was it for me. And I did get to go up and spend a few days on the set, which was amazing. But yeah, once I didn't actually write anything in collaboration with Lane and Ruckus. They rewrote the script basically after I had submitted my last draft of it. So yeah,
Okay. So
out of my hands.
Wow.
So then that goes to question. I mean, thinking not just in terms of Becky, but what's next on the agenda for Nick Morris? You got something else up your sleeve that you're going to try to get out there?
I do. We have. I've got another one that's in development now. It's called The Evil Eye.
Wait.
of a
in development, as in it's already been picked up, or
yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you saying this exclusively on this show by any means, or does everybody know this?
No, it's been out there.
Damn.
It was in the trades. It was in Deadline back in January, I think.
Okay.
Keegan, Connor, Tracy. She's been in some of the Final Destination movies. She's a Canadian actress. She's in Once Upon a Time, Supernatural, Bates Motel. She's going to direct. This is going to be her directorial debut. So we've been working pretty closely on the script over the last few months, and we're just kind of everything's sort of in limbo now in terms of production and when we can reasonably look at shooting, because it involves some crowd scenes and things like but it's moving along nicely, and yeah, I'm pretty excited about that one. It's a little bit more of a creepy supernatural sort of deal. So
I'm down for that. Can you give us a synopsis, like an elevator pitch to it, if you're trying to sell everybody listening right now on it?
Yeah, so it's about a middle-aged mom who, unbeknownst to her family, was a child actress, and she starred in what is largely considered to be a cursed horror film that is kind of legendary at this point, but she shut it out of her life, believing it to be cursed, and doesn't acknowledge it anymore, and she's kind of it forces its way back into her life to the point that she's has to sit down and watch it, and horrible things happen.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You caught me. All right. And this
Where
is.
are you at on the mastometer, Adam?
I'm probably about half mast right now. I'm probably about half mast right now. Hey, you can only expect so much, right?
That's pretty good for an elevator pitch.
It's pretty good for an elevator pitch. That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, but he's
and I'm fucking terrible at elevator pitches.
He's easy to excite too, so don't take
Look. Half chub, okay? That's good, man. Okay, so let's kind of focus on something else for a second here. You have a wonderful setup in the background there. You're obviously a horror fanatic, so I'm just going to go out and I'm going to straight up ask you, favorite horror movie of all time? Go.
I'm going to say Exorcist.
Ooh.
Okay. Halloween 1 is right up there with it. They're probably tied, really, but yeah, it'd be one of those two for sure.
Okay.
Nice.
I can appreciate that. That's The Exorcist.
You love The Exorcist.
Yeah. That one still creeps me out, man.
Yeah, when she comes down the stairs.
Yeah.
Every time.
It's so good.
I will always remember the time when they did the version you've never seen re-release, and it went to theaters.
Yeah.
And I went to theater to see it. It was the only time. I mean, it was the only chance I would have had to see it in theater. and we went to see it in theaters, and it was an amazing experience to see that. It was good.
Yeah.
Definitely
it's
something you
unbelievable.
want to watch in the dark with the sound booming on you, and the experience and the atmosphere is phenomenal. So yeah,
Totally. Yeah.
excellent. Okay, guys, questions? Anything else you want to inquire about or ask Nick about?
Well, the kills in Becky are dope.
Thanks.
Obvious
Right?
horror
The
influences.
Yeah.
The kills in Becky are dope. The only problem I had with the whole movie was I wish there was more. I wish
Yeah.
there was more bad guys that she could have picked off. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not even saying like 10 bad guys. Like, just give me 2 more. Because I found the creativeness of a lot of the kills were very childlike anyway, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
a kid thought of that.
Right.
I got
Yeah.
like major Home Alone vibes.
Yeah, like there was
Yeah.
one kind of like sequence that I was like Home Alone vibes. This is great.
Yeah.
But because it's been a while since I read the original draft. Did you come up with a lot of these kills, or was that something that like the special effects guys once they started working on it, like
The a lot of those kills and the sheer brutality of them, that's always been there from the very beginning.
Right.
Some things were tweaked and moved around a little bit, but yeah, no, the super soaker with the gasoline, that was me, and the lawnmower was me. The motorboat, I didn't. It's funny because I set the motorboat up in the script early, and the dad character, Joel's character Jeff, and the little boy are actually talking, have a little exchange about the boat and how fast it can go and stuff, planning to do that very scene later on. And at some point I changed it, and because I don't know if it just seemed a little too I spit on your grave, or it felt like I'd seen it before, so I wrote it out, and lo and behold, they wrote it back in. So.
Meant to be.
But it turned out great. The overhead shot of it is fucking beautiful.
Yeah, it
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Absolutely.
It is.
You're a wrestling fan, aren't you, Nick?
What's that?
Are you a wrestling fan?
Yes.
Okay, I got that. The power slam.
There's like 3 or 4 power slams and knockdowns. I was like, yeah, the harpoon.
Okay, I get it.
There's
now.
a definite power bomb in there and a choke slam, and yeah.
And the harpoon.
I love
Just
that you
this-
had Robert do it too.
Yeah.
Like it was written
Just
for him.
this past weekend, I finally got to see it on the big screen. The Neptune Drive-In Theater up in Shediac in New Brunswick. I've been harassing all the drive-ins in Nova Scotia and PEI and New Brunswick and everywhere, drivable, to pick this movie up. And so, anyways, they finally got it, and they started playing it this weekend, and they invited Robert and I to come up and be there Friday night. So
I was gonna say that's right up Robert's alley. Like they could
Yeah,
have easily
oh, yeah.
got him. Yeah.
no, he was there, man. It was a great time. We hung out and just shot the shit after the movie for probably like an hour. Like they were closing the concession stand. They're like, "All right, guys, if you're good, we're taking off." But yeah, it was so cool.
That's awesome.
That was cool. Yeah.
That is
I
awesome.
was wondering about the wrestling thing, right away when I saw a couple of the moves. I was like, okay. And then later on with another one, I was like, okay, all right, I'm getting it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Perfectly, right? They were perfect.
And Robert is an ex-pro wrestler too, right?
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Kurgan.
And
The
it's funny-
Kurgan, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was really our first chance, because I saw him on set, but we didn't get a chance to really talk too much. So this was our first chance to kind of just shoot the shit and talk movies and things like that. And that's exactly what we did. We talked movies for over an hour, and I never even got into any of my wrestling questions. Like I've got, lots of stuff that I'd want to ask him about, right? But yeah, we didn't even get into that. So that'll be next time, I hope.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. cool.
That's
All
awesome.
One thing I wish they did is I wish they would have made the bad guys like a little more skeezy. Like they seem pretty clean cut and like proper Nazis. I wanted someone to be like a greasy skeeve ball that was like
skeeve ball.
just fucking deplorable human beings.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. Hopefully we'll get a sequel and we can skeeve the bad guys out a little more.
Yeah, see a couple more Nazis that are trying to get this key.
Well, you gotta admit,
Right.
right out the bat, Apex starts to be that. I mean, he chokes the
Oh,
shit
yeah.
out of the guy and breaks the guy's neck in the armor truck, and then
Yeah.
the kids. And
Yeah.
once again, just like the dog, my son was like, "He killed the kids too? Like, what the hell, man?"
See, that's where it got me, because it was like, it started out so strong with them, and they're like, yeah, these guys are fucking ruthless and relentless. And then they just take a bunch of hostages. I was just expecting them to just come in and start cracking skulls.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have a story, man.
Yeah, oh,
You
yeah.
wouldn't have a
And
story.
they wouldn't be able to find the key because the key was
Find the
missing,
key,
and all
yeah.
that kind of shit.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think the only part that I was shocked was when he punched like Becky on the ground.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, this big giant man just punched this little girl. Keep in mind she's trying to kill him, but like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knocked the wind right out of her.
Like his fist
Yeah.
is the size of her head.
Oh, yeah.
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 Literally,
But
yeah.
I have to say, my favorite thing of the whole movie was the eyeball gag. Oh my god, I loved it. I cringed and I laughed all at the same time. Like I was like, "This is great!" Like with the child scissors and
Yeah.
yeah, it was
Those
great.
things wouldn't even cut construction paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I was thinking Simpsons references in the back of my head the whole time. They're right to laugh at you, Ralph. These things couldn't cut butter.
Yeah. Exactly. It turned out so good, man. Like it's exactly how I envisioned it, and Kevin really brought it too. And he's like, "You fucking kidding me?" And throws the scissors. Like I loved it.
How weird is all this for you? Like, I mean, to have it, start as your story that's very much yours, and then started getting other people involved, and then it's not yours anymore, it's the world's. But when you
Right.
sit down to watch it, like, you're like, I fucking made that up. Like, I made this whole thing up. Like, how weird is that? Like,
It's very weird, man. It's totally surreal. It was surreal watching them shoot it on set. There was on any given day there were like 100 people on set. All seasoned pros, right? And everybody's busy and everybody's got a job to do. I'm the only motherfucker with nothing to do, right? And just kind of hanging around and watching it with a big grin on my face, right?
Your
But
job was done, man. You just got to
yeah.
with that being said, how hard was it not to try and involve yourself when they're shooting? Like, I wouldn't do that, and that's not how I thought. Like, was that an issue at all, or once you kind of gave over the reins, like, this isn't mine anymore?
Right, exactly, and that's totally how you have to approach it. Sure there are moments where you're thinking, that's or maybe that could be different, but you can't be that guy, right? Or you're done. Nobody will work with you again. You've got to be totally cool every step of the way.
You got to turn into Gunnar Hansen from Brutal Massacre, sitting there counting the money, going, "I don't give a fuck."
Yeah, just remember the fat stack.
Right.
I don't give a fuck.
Well, I mean, as some like I personally, I was there at the beginning. I read the first draft script. I remember your pitch. I remember what you wanted me to do for the art, and then 3 years later to sit down and watch it. It's the same thing that you pitched me. Like, and I think that's awesome that like they kept the core of your story and a lot of these characters intact, and that just speaks to how good of a writer you are, because obviously the producers and the people involved making this movie liked your characters enough to leave them alone. right?
Yeah, no, thanks, man. I mean, I was so worried about it too, because up until the point that I finally actually got to sit down and watch the movie, which was in May, I think. I saw the first cut that they did, which was we got an NC-17, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But I was so relieved afterwards. I was like, oh my god, thank God it's good. Like, and it looks like what I wrote, and and I couldn't be happier with how it turned out.
Yeah. No, well, and the thing that I really appreciated was it definitely had a depth to the style of, like, there's a lot of like very modern kind of ADD moments with the title card and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But there's also points where it feels very old school and like kind of grindhousey, and then like I don't know. I dug your movie. I thought it was great. Like I had a blast watching it. Yeah,
it could have been part of the soundtrack too, because I found this soundtrack really cool.
Yeah,
like the score was so good, and the score was done, a lot of it with like kids' instruments and toys and stuff. Like
I made a comment for our reviews about the soundtrack in this. I'd never heard anything like it, and I thought, yeah, this stands out on its own for sure. Right?
Yeah, it's it's a little bit Carpenter at times, and it's even a little bit Friday the 13th at times with like breathing sounds and stuff. Yeah, it's so cool. And Carrie and John, the directors, did some really cool visual things, like like the cross cuts, when they're far away from each other, but he keeps bringing them closer and closer together, and the cutting back and forth between the schoolyard and the prison yard, and like all that stuff was just phenomenal. It turned out so cool.
So there's one other thing that I picked up on in the movie, and I don't know if it was intentional or how you wrote the character or otherwise, so I wanted to kind of get a clarification from you. Is Becky supposed to be on the spectrum? Is she by any chance written to be almost autistic in a way? Like, I don't want to say like she's full out autistic, but like there's a couple of scenes in the movie where things are really getting to her. And I understand the whole mentality behind just losing her mother, and that's the comfort point when she's in the garage and everything is going off on her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like it's too much. And I've known people who, have loved ones who are on the spectrum, and walking into a store like that, and the exact visuals that I seen and the audio that kind of really pierced, and the way that she reacted really came across like what I've actually seen happen. So I just wanted to ask, like, was she written by any chance to be like on the spectrum, or
not specifically? Like that wasn't specifically autistic wasn't my intent. In my original script, there was some talk about her meds, and she wasn't taking her medication or whatever, and she threw it away, and they got rid of that. But she's disturbed, right? And she's obviously grieving, and and her dad's not making things any better for her, and and she's just kind of a punk kid, right?
Totally 90s-ish, the way that she dresses and stuff too. Like my wife picked up on. My wife was like, her outfit is like amazing, like in the hairdo and all that kind of stuff. It was like great.
Yeah, the Doc Martens, and the yellow and black shirt was actually Lulu's shirt that she happened to wear to set the first day, and they were like, "That's it," That's totally
very punky Brewster.
She did some of the art, didn't she, Nick? Like some of the stuff.
Yes,
actually,
a lot of it,
I saw her credit down there for some of the artistic stuff, some of the pictures and stuff. That's cool, man. That's cool.
Yeah. She drew all over her backpack and the title credit sequence with all the different Beckys. Some of that was done by John Malott, one of the directors, and by his family. And just whoever could throw. I think some of them were Lulu's, and That's
the cool stuff, man. That's what I really like to hear. Is that kind of, right? Yeah. Yeah. It personalizes it right to her, right? So that backpack, it belonged to her, and it had her personalization on it. So I think that subconsciously that adds to the film, right?
Yes. And I know for a fact that that Lulu still has Kevin's eyeball and the fox hat and her glasses, and she's got a little shrine set up in her room.
I was going to ask you about this. I am a prop collecting fanatic. Did you get anything cool from the set? Did you snag a colored pencil or anything?
No, nothing like that, unfortunately.
Always steal props from the set. Always. They let you in there. They expect it. It's built into the cost of the set.
The day
you get in there, you're like,
the day after he leaves, they're like, "Where the hell did that prop go? We're filming with that in 10 minutes. What the hell?
The bundle of colored pencils gone.
Yeah.
You mean we got to reshoot all that shit for continuity?
Yeah. They save all that shit for the stars, man.
Yeah.
You give them an inch, and they'll give you 12 right in the neck.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, John.
Yeah, you could never invite me to a set. I'd be in there fucking filling my pockets.
Good to know, Josh. Good to know.
Yeah, good to know for sure.
Right? I lived in New Minas when they were filming Call Me Fitz, and they would just leave the sets unattended all the time.
Yeah.
It's just, oh man.
Oh yeah.
Like the giant F that's on the Fitz car lot would just be sitting there and be like, I could definitely sneak that home when no one knows.
Well, it is New Minas. Nobody would really notice.
Yeah.
Walking down the street with it, people wouldn't care. It's New Minas. Oh, hey, Josh.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, guys. If we don't have anything else to ask Nick, then, I think that we could wrap this up today. Anything else, guys?
No, that's it, man.
I got everything.
You made it. Good job.
You made it. Yeah. You know what? Round of applause.
So many people, like you said, moved to Hollywood, moved to LA, and they're slugging their guts working as a fucking coffee assistant, trying to slip scripts under doors, and you got there.
Yeah. No, years ago this wouldn't have been possible. You can do so much online now, that you can do it from Halifax, Nova Scotia, right? But it's still not easy, but it's possible.
That's where you get your inspiration, and keep doing it, brother. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
And if you need anybody to run anything by, you got a whole crew of local horror fans right here. Feel free to give us a call and join us on the show anytime, and we are there. And we would love to have you back at any point.
And next time you're on set, fill your fucking pocket.
I'll steal you something good, man.
Ooh.
Aaron's a special effects guy. He knows. They don't care. They got doubles and extras. There's probably 40 of those colored pencil things set up ready to go.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Oh, Josh. Yeah. Excellent. All right. That's about it then tonight. So once again, I would like to thank Nick Morris for joining us on this episode tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. It's been great getting to know you and just knowing more about the process that happened here and your involvement in the script. And we definitely, once again, we congratulate you and we wish you all the best with the future endeavors. And we can't wait to find out more and see more about your next project. So when that starts to kick off, let everybody know, yell it from the top of the towers, and we will hear it too. And we'll, always about promoting East Coast and horror and Canadian, horror fanatics. So, good job. So, take a moment to thank everybody for tuning in and listening to us, not just roast Nick, but, actually ask the viable questions about what's going on here. So, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Check us out on Facebook, Misunderstood Art Company. We put out new content every week. Check us out on YouTube. We put out new content every week there too. So like and subscribe, Misunderstood Art Company. And we put out audio versions of these episodes on all the major podcasting platforms, including but not limited to iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, etc. And we're also on Patreon, by the way. So open up your hearts and your wallets and join us as a patron to the show. And until next time, Josh.
I love the story. I love you. I love to hear all this behind the scenes, but you're still a son of a bitch.
Thanks, man.
Noted. Aaron.
Never take an inch because you could get 12 right in the neck.
That it happens. And Tim.
Stay spooky, everybody.
Excellent. Nick, say goodbye to everybody for us, please.
Thanks, guys. It was a blast.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. See you next time.
Good night.